Had a really good week of practice so far. Again, want to just publicly thank everybody in the Fiesta Bowl and Mike and everybody involved. We've had a really good week here, and spent Christmas away from home yesterday, and it makes it a lot easier when you're away from home when you get treated so well here, and greatest people who have helped us all along the way. So we've had a good week of practice that way, and looking forward to a great game against a really good team in Clemson. And as we've prepared this week and watched film, not only are they really talented, but they're very, very well coached. So it's a tremendous challenge. Had a good week of practice. We're looking forward to Saturday.
We've got a question right here on the right in the back.
Coach, we were talking about Irvin just a few minutes ago, and he kind of made it seem like the key to the game was the first 7 minutes, how both teams respond to another team that's at equal talent level. What do you do to prepare a team to come out in that first 7 minutes and, respond to adversity and not make the stage too big?
I think you just talk to the team about it. When you have a mature team, you give them what you think is going to happen in the game, and you play it out so that they can prepare for that. And I think anytime you play in any type of game, you have to prepare physically. You have to get your body ready. You have to prepare mentally, know what you're doing, but then emotionally and spiritually. And I think that's a part of this, is understanding the electricity that's going to come with the game, and it'll be on hyper speed there for the first quarter, and just preparing for that and understanding that that's the way the game's going to go down. And being able to respond to that. But our guys have played in big games. They played in big environments, so I don't think that'll be advantage to either side. Clemson's played unbelievable games here in the last couple of years. So, you just talk to the team, about it, and then you prepare the best you can.
Question here on the far right.
Ryan, before practice Tuesday, you seemed pretty fired up. Yesterday, you guys came out, looked like you had a more fun message. How does a coach decide what is the best approach on a given day?
You take it day to day. That's one of the things that I've talked about this year. I think our coaching staff's done a great job of is, with our team and with this generation, it's kind of day to day. It's just the way it is. And we've had great practices. Preparing for this game has almost been like a bye week. It's happened so fast, and we've done a really good job, I think, of preparing the guys for that. But when it's Christmas, you got to have some fun with them, and we had some fun. They're away from home, especially some of the younger guys who've never done that before. Their first time away from home for Christmas. So we want to have a lot of fun and make sure that they understand that this is their family away from home. But then some of the other practices have been really spirited, really physical, and there's a lot on the line here, and they know that, and our coaching staff knows that. And again, I thought we've had a good week.
Second row on the left.
Ryan, the 2013 bowl games against Clemson was the impetus for a defensive change in Ohio State. The 2016 bowl game against Clemson was the impetus to bring you here. Is this as well-fashioned a team that you put together to be ready for Clemson again?
I think I talked to the team the other day. I'm not ready for this team to be done. More than anything, I love this team. I love these kids. I love this coaching staff. What they've done, together as a group, but just personally, what they've done for me in my first time as a head coach. They'll always have a place in my heart. And like we said, we're not ready for this thing to be over. So we're fighting for that too. We want to continue to play after this and keep this team together. And I do. I think that these guys are excited to play in this game, and it's time to go play and find out where we're at. You don't know until you're in those games, and it goes back to fundamentals and understanding how you take care of the ball and tackling and those type of things. So our veteran players have to play veteran. The good players have to play good. That's how it goes in games like this.
We'll stay on the left, fourth row.
Ryan, could you just describe what this last year has been like for you? To replace a legend like Urban Meyer, and you're on the field your first season as the head coach, now you're getting ready to get in the playoffs. What has this been like for you?
Well, it's been day to day, week to week, and again, it sounds cliche, but it's something that we've talked about from the get-go. And one of the things that you can't get overwhelmed with is the expectations, because they're so high here, and the margin for error is so small. But when you surround yourself with great coaches, when you surround yourself with great players and leaders, and recruit great families, that's what helps, and you rely on them. But it's been quite a year, and I think that our guys, as the season has gone on, have built a better chemistry. Our coaching staff has built that as well. And so now we're to this point now, and we talked about this way back in February, that we wanted to be in this moment. Well, we're in the moment right now, And now it's all about preparing the best we can, spending every moment we can, being ready for this spot, and to go play as great as we can. And then the thing is, when we get into that thing, we have to be bold. We have to come out of the gates and be aggressive, and that's the way we've played all year, and we have to continue to do that in big games.
Next question. Right here on the far left.
Brian Dennis, Scott, CBS Sports Digital, following up on the era of coaches that coached for 30 years just to try to get to this spot. You've reached it in your first year. What do you do for an encore for the next 10 years?
Well, I try not to think about that. I tried not to worry about that when we started here last January, knowing what Coach Meyer had done leading up to this point. Because again, when you focus on that, you can get yourself overwhelmed. And but yeah, it's been a great season. Couldn't have hoped for anything better up to this point. Now it's just a matter, can we go finish this thing off the way that we wanted to, all the way from the get-go. And it's all about the players, though. It's about the leaders. It's about the guys on this team who have built that camaraderie, and they played great. And now, again, games like this, it comes down to the players. It's not plays, it's not coaches, it's the players playing great, and they're the ones who deserve the credit in the end.
Back row on the left.
Ryan, what would be your words for?
Yep.
Okay. What would be your words for the collection of talent that's going to be on that field Saturday, Kevin Brooks?
Pretty impressive. I mean, when you look at the guys on both sides of the ball on both teams, you got a lot of NFL players there who are going to be playing for a long time. So it's going to be fun to see those guys playing against each other and competing. But you talk about a collection of power, speed, strength. You kind of look on both sides. It's there. Clemson's, they're strong, they're powerful, they're tough. So are we. They're fast. They have speed. We have speed. So they have a really good quarterback. We have a really good quarterback. They have a really good running back. We have a really good running back. It goes back and forth. And so it's an equated game, and it'll be fun to watch.
Second row on the left.
Yeah, Coach Clay Hall, ABC6, Fox 28 in Columbus. There was a moment in practice the other day you were kind of messing around with the big guys, and they kind of picked you up on their shoulders. It looked like a scene maybe out of Rudy. Can you talk about the affinity for each other there and what that means that you're tight with them?
Well, we have moments like that a lot in practice that, people don't see. That just happened to be a time, I think, where the media was there. We were just having fun on Christmas. We've been doing it for years. You got Mick on the microphone. We had him go through the gate, and just something to have fun with him on Christmas, and then the offensive line decided they wanted to come tackle me, and so it's just stuff like that happens all the time. And I think that's what makes this team great, is that we have a huge game ahead of us, but they also know that it's about enjoying being here, enjoying each other. It's this family atmosphere, and I talk to them all the time, is don't take it for granted and don't just let it go by. Appreciate each other, appreciate being on this team, because it's going to be gone one day. And, you're in it right now. So enjoy it, but also understand what's at stake.
Fourth row on the left.
Brian, you said try not to think about replacing someone like Urban, it can be overwhelming. How are you able to do that, though?
You do the best you can to rely on who you are as a person and be yourself. But then also, you're not in this thing alone. When you're part of a coaching staff, you're the head coach. It's your job, but you're not in it alone. You have the coaching staff. We got Coach Mick. We have all of our operations people. There's so many people that are involved with this thing. Is that we're in this. It's us. It's not just you isolated. And that's kind of my style, is that I like to have everybody involved with it. You like to empower the coordinators, empower the Mick, empower Mark Pantoni in recruiting, and you hire those guys to do a job and we're in it together. And then when it comes down to the players, it's their team. I talk to them all the time. The best teams I've been around, the leaders run the team. The offensive line runs the offense. The guys on defense, the leaders over there run the defense. And then when you do that, you're all in it together. So when you look to the right, you look to the left, you know that you're in this thing with a group of guys you trust. Then that's what gets you up in the morning. And you want to make sure you're doing a good job for them. And that's what special teams are made of.
First row on the left.
Arizona Republic, USA Today Network. Good to see you, Coach. I'm curious, what have the seniors or people around the program said about the last experience, this bowl game, with these two programs, and how has that influenced your preparations going into this game?
It hasn't, other than the fact that we know what happened, but I wasn't here, and most of the team wasn't here either. There's a good portion of them that weren't here. And I think that we were aware of what happened, but at the same time, this is a very, very different team. They're a different team. We're in a different spot, different coaching staff, different players altogether. So it's certainly a reference point, but it's not something we've talked a lot about.
Any other questions? Back to the fourth row on the left.
Ryan, what has Jordan Fuller meant to this team? Obviously, he's been here for a long time, and great student as well. What has his impact been for this team?
Jordan's been unbelievable. You know, he's a Campbell Trophy finalist, and what he's done off the field, what he's done on the field. And as that free safety, he's kind of been the quarterback back there. He gets us into the right stuff. He's a mature. It's like having a coach out there. I mean, he's as close to a coach player as I've been around. Just handles business the right way, does everything the right way, and he's had a great year on the field. Played at a high level. So, you know, when it comes to on the field production, off the field, the way he handles himself, the way he's in the meeting room, getting guys aligned, he's been a huge part of our success on defense this year.
Back row on the right.
Yeah, Coach, Steve Hellwagon with Bucknuts 24/7 Sports. Each of your last two games, you guys have been a little slow out of the gate. I think the opponent has gone down and scored on the first possession, Michigan and Wisconsin. How important will it be for you guys to get off to a fast start? Because with the way that they play offense, it could be 14 and 21 to nothing each play.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you always want to start fast, and you know, I thought both times, you know, last couple games they've had a good, you know, plan coming out of the gates, and I thought our defense did an excellent job of adjusting as the game went on. And when you look at the last two games, the second half, our defense played lights out. But certainly we want to always start fast. I think that's important. We had great games where we started fast this year, and that'll be important. But at the same time, it's 4 quarters, and in a game like this, you have to be willing to play 4 quarters. You know, you're not just going to blow a team out in the first quarter, first half in a game like this. It's going to go 4 quarters. You get it into the fourth quarter, and then you go from there. But a fast start certainly helps.
Far left here.
Stuart Mandel from The Athletic. Ryan, Ohio State, from Jim Tressel to Urban Meyer, now to you. You guys never seem to have a dip. You're always in national title contention, and that's not necessarily true for other big branding programs out there. You have that period of mediocrity recently. What is it about Ohio State school program that allows you guys to maintain consistency from one coach to the other?
Well, I think in the most recent case, it was you know, the stability of Gene Smith and his foresight to promote from within. You know, he never flinched in this thing, and you know, I'm forever in debt to he and Sheila for what they've done for us. But I think that was a huge decision that was made, and you know, the hiring of Coach Meyer was huge, and you know, he's a great coach, and so is Coach Tressel, and you know, I think they've hired great people there. But Buckeye Nation and the support that you get when you're at Ohio State and the way that they adopt you is unlike any place I've ever been or seen. And you know, although I'm not from Ohio, I quickly was indoctrinated to what it means to be a Buckeye and what you know, what the rivalry game means and how important these games are to the people of Ohio. And when you grab onto that and you realize how important that is, and you feel that, you know, week in and week out, it's really cool. And I think that has a lot to do with it, is the support you have from Buckeye Nation, not only in Ohio but throughout the country. You know, no matter where you go, you feel that support. And I think that Block O is, you know, stood the test of time, and I think that has a big part of it.
We'll take 2 more questions here. We have one in the second row on the left.
Ryan, J.K. was talking the other day about Ohio State is the most disrespected team in the nation, going back to being not picked to win the Big Ten, maybe dropping in the polls. How much are you guys using that? How much have you used that in this poll cut?
Well, I mean, you know, we know going in, it doesn't really matter what people think of us. What matters is what we put on the field, and it's the same thing now. You know, we're not getting into that too much. And if you want respect, go beat the defending national champs who have won 28 straight games. So we got our opportunity. So whatever people think, they think. And then at the end of the game, what matters is what they think on Saturday night. So we have an opportunity to go win the game. And you know, you want respect, then you got to go beat these guys. And you know, what better team to do it against than defending national champs, who are very, very good, and they've been good for a long time now.
Last question here on the far right.
Hey Ryan, Dave Holmes, WBNS. You've won 13 in a row this year, 3 last year as head coach of the interim basis. 16 in a row for you, but when you see 28 in a row, I'm curious, knowing how hard 16 is, your perspective on really off 28 in a row.
Yeah, I actually said it to Coach last night. We were at an event together, and I said it's hard to win 28 games against the air. I mean, I don't know how you do that, win 28 games. That's unbelievable. I think it just goes to show you the stability he's had in his staff there. and their ability to, stay focused throughout that time. Because all it takes is a couple of times the ball's on the ground or the ball bounces one way or another, and you lose a game. And so the consistency's been there, and nothing but respect for what they've done during this run.
Great. We'll open it up now for player interviews. If you would like to continue to speak with Coach Day, please come to the podium.
Yep. Do you mind going to the microphone or not?
I would still stay with the microphone.
No, I've been here before. Yeah. Oh, just everybody. I mean, regardless of whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, everybody's in this thing together. So, I mean, you got to do a good job of scheme, but then you got to do. It's all about players, and it's all about putting them in the right position to be successful. And so it's a combination of the two.
Hey Ryan, I know that you weren't here the last time you two played in this game, but this game, the last time set up your arrival. They needed you to, kind of help revamp the offense. And in the 3 years, and 2 years, and now 3 since you were hired, is this kind of the plan? Is this the way it was supposed to go in terms of like what you were going for? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I never really looked at it that way, but I hear what you're saying. There was an opportunity here to come, and I wanted to do the best I could, and it wasn't just me. It was Kevin Wilson as well. We came into this thing together, and we're still here, and I think that's been a huge part of what we've done. And Kevin brought a huge experience and background to the table, and so between the two of us when we got here, we really wanted to put our stamp on it, and I thought we've done that. And so again, this is kind of the big one to find out kind of where we're at against Clemson now and see how far this offense has come.
I know that this is also before you were here, and maybe this isn't even something you think about, but right now you guys are playing on the field to win a national championship. But as a coach of a program, you're also competing to have the best overall program in the sport. And in 2015, the year after you guys won the national title a few years ago, it seemed as if you were going to dethrone Alabama and kind of take over that chair. But in the time since, Clemson's beaten you guys on the field. They've beaten you by taking top 5 players out of Ohio in the recruiting game. And, they've kind of been the team that ended up dethroning Alabama, if you will. But I'm wondering now that everything's wrapping back around and you guys are back here, is this game part of that whole picture of best program in America, and does that matter?
Yeah, I think when you're playing for a national championship, that's what you're doing. You're trying to prove that you're the best team in the country, and but this is your chance to do it on the field. And when you compete against great programs, whether it's Bama or Clemson or whoever, you're competing in all areas, and you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That's how it goes. But yeah, clearly when you're in a spot like this, you're trying to become the best team in the country.
Is this something you think about personally? Like, are you motivated by some of the things I was just saying?
Yeah, I mean that's part of being a competitor. Yeah. He's a guy that we saw playing early on, or saw him throwing early on in camp, and really, I think he was maybe 15 years old when we first saw him, and just saw a really talented arm. And then as he's matured, you can really tell he's got a better feel for what it means to have coverages and defensive recognition and those type of things in his football IQ. And had some really good games this year. So it was a combination of size, accuracy, ability to throw the ball, and then makeup. Comes from a great family.
Coach, I'm not sure if you're aware, but you're having a ranking tape from the Zoo tomorrow make its pick for the game. And I'm curious how confident you are in that animal's ability to make sure.
I don't know. That's a new one to me. I don't know how that works, but does he get anything if he's right?
Well, no, but he'll get a winning record, just like the team that wins. But he's going to
He'll probably do a better job than the prognosticators, I would think. Probably.
Back on the recruiting side of things, you guys also got a commit from Leighton Ransom. Just what excites you about getting him in that Ohio State football?
Yeah, huge. I think he's going to be the future in the back end for us at safety. Just another young guy. He's only 17 years old. Playing at a high level, really smart, great family, great program, and we expect him to make a difference right away.
How have you seen kind of Arizona change as a recruiting state?
Yeah.
With college coaches coming?
Well, I think that I had a chance to talk to some of the high school coaches recently in the area, and I think that the level of football has really gone up recently, and it's really good players here. it's easy for them to get to Columbus, right from Phoenix, and so we've had a lot of success here, and we're going to continue to recruit the area really hard.
Is it nice to stay in Jack Miller's dad's hotel?
Yeah, that helps too.
Get a little extra mint on your pillow, or what?
That's right. Turn down service.
Ryan, I think there's a straight line between being a top 5 team in the recruiting rankings to a top 5 team on the field. A lot of times, talent directly equates to success.
Yep.
But when you look at Ohio State, Alabama, and all the other teams that are in it every year, there's a common denominator. Clemson has kind of been a little bit behind the pack, and maybe even the exception. I think if you look at the talent index right now, they're like the 14th or 15th most talented team according to recruiting rankings. And I'm wondering, when you look at them, do you see anything different about the way they approach that part of the game? And why are they the exception? Like, how could they have so much success on the field when they're not matching what other teams like you guys are doing in the recruiting?
No, I think that they do a great job of identifying what they're looking for, and they seem to be a little bit more regional based. We're a little bit more national, and I think that's really obviously working for them. And they do a great job of that, and I think it seems to me, I don't know this, but it seems to me like they have certain positions where they'll go national, but most of the time they have enough players in their area, and they've done a great job developing.
You remember when Jackson Carman decided to go to Clemson?
Yes.
What was that like?
I wasn't really involved with it. I know that we were disappointed and that it didn't work out. Obviously, somebody from Ohio was highly recruited, but we kind of moved on. And again, if you have to talk somebody into coming to Ohio State from the state of Ohio, something's maybe not right in terms of the fit, and so that wasn't a great fit.
So no
for whatever
fist went
reason.
to a wall or anything?
Not my fist, but I'm sure somebody's fist.
Yeah.
Ryan, as an offensive game player, what makes Isaiah Simmons so hard to account for?
His versatility. He can probably play, 5 or 6 positions, maybe more on the field. He can line up at defensive end. He's a spy. He's a middle of the field player. He's a linebacker. He can play in coverage almost like a nickel guy. So his versatility is off the charts. His range, and once he gets running, he's fast.
What's the conversation like with your guys about making sure you know where he is at all times on the field?
You don't really. Maybe a little bit in protection and things like that, but that's not something on offense where you really know where somebody is. You gotta play, and you just got to do a good job against them. And there's not much you can do about anybody like that. You just got to do a great job of when you get a chance to block them. You got to do a good job with your fundamentals, and you got to finish the play all the way to the whistle. But he's going to make his share of plays, and that's just when you're going against good players, that's what's going to happen.
You say the versatility stands out, but are there anything else that you see on tape that kind of catches your eye when it comes to him?
Just his speed and his range. He can cover up a lot of ground in a short time.
When you first took the job, and maybe you did this when you were the offensive coordinator, did you look around? Because I know Urban was always really big on studying other programs and seeing what they did. For instance, like Ohio State adapted a whole new graphics department for 3 years ago.
Right.
Did you ever study what they did over there?
You always keep an eye on things like that and try to find things here and there when you compare. But I haven't really had time to go and really study anybody because it's been so fast for us this past year. But they're obviously doing a great job, and there's a lot of things that they do that we keep an eye on.
Are you happy right now? Happy?
I don't know. Happy is a strong word. We got a big game ahead of us, so it was good. It was good to be, with everybody during Christmas. That was, that's an important time, and especially for these young guys who've never been away from home and to be around family. Had a nice brunch, and it's good to be with your family, in the hotel and spending time together. But this game is so huge; it's hard to be happy right now.
I know. And one last thing, and then I'll let you stop this. But this game is a very symbolic game to the fans. A lot of people have been waiting a long time for Ohio State to get back up. And 3 years is a relatively long time for them, but to get back to the mountaintop and having to go through Clemson seems to be it seems appropriate.
Sure.
Do you appreciate
Oh yeah.
the matchup and just what that means to people? This is like the test of whether or not Ohio State really truly has gotten back to where they thought they were.
You think back on the year, you had that Wisconsin first game. That was a test to figure out, all right, where are we really at? And then you have Penn State. Okay, figure out where we're at with Penn State, and then we have the rivalry game, and then we had the Big Ten champ. So it's been a constant, test here and there, and yeah. So I totally understand it. The reason why you come here is win national championships. And that's the standard, and I totally understand that too. And so when you took the job, you know that you're taking that on. But try not to get overwhelmed with it. Try not to get too focused on that. Just do the best you can to prepare for the game, be aggressive, and do what we've done all year.
How do you, as a coach, maintain a sane mind when you can go undefeated and win a Big Ten championship game and you're sitting here worried about
Again, I don't know. You do everything you can to just stay locked into your work. And when you focus on your work, then you don't get as much stressed out. You just try to do the best you can to get your guys ready to roll.
Thanks, Ron.
Yep.
Coach, are you in favor of expanding the playoff field to 8 teams?
I do think that if you win your conference, that you deserve to play. I know that that's not easy, and there's a lot of complications with that. So I think in the off season, I'm looking forward to being part of some of those conversations. But I know it's not that easy. I know there's a lot that comes with that. But I do think if you win your conference, then you deserve to play.
And just one more thing, Coach. Does it make a difference unless you're at LSU going to New Orleans where you play in this case? Preparation?
Again, unless there's just a strong hope, like let's say you were playing Georgia in Atlanta, I think that's a strong bias there. But other than that, I don't think so.
Thanks, Coach.
Right. Just a lot of conversation, trying to figure out what was the best plan of action. Sat down with Mick and coaching staff and had a conversation with Urban about, what do you think for this week and the week before leading up to it. But this was very unique. This is, usually you have an extra week to prepare for this game. So it was more like a bye week than it was, a bowl game. And so talked to a lot of people, asked a lot of questions, and put the plan together and put it in place. And I think we've had a good week, good preparation. Yeah, he's always been a resource for me, and that's huge, especially when you're doing it for the first time. And why would you not use somebody who's been through this before and won national championships and obviously had the success he's had? And so he's been very, very supportive and very helpful. Oh, you kidding me? 28 straight games defending national champs. Until somebody knocks them off, they're the champs. And so we got a chance to knock them off. And there's just, a lot of people get to talk. That's what they get paid to do, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, you got to go play the game on Saturday.
I know you weren't here 3 years ago. You considered that's the reason, one of the reasons you're here. Urban redid the offense.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And now, we got to do a great job. But over that time, I think our offensive staff has done a good job. And, Kevin Wilson, he's got his fingerprints all over this offense, and our entire staff, Coach Stud and Tony and everybody who's been involved with it has really made an impact on it. And so now we just got to keep it going. But this is a big stage for us to go play and see where our offense is at.
Ron, what did you feel like Justin was comfortable with where he was, what he was doing, how he was playing? At what point do you think?
I think it just kept building as the season's gone on, and he's gotten more and more comfortable. And I think it's just a gradual process, and I think he'll grow more and more even next season.
Was there a game this year where you said, "Oh, that looks like he's got a rhythm, he's found it"?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a strange year. The first 10 games, he really didn't finish any of those games. So we got into a rhythm early on. He played well. I think, to me, the rivalry game when he played against a team up north, and came back in after that injury, and then through that, I mean, that was just unbelievable. And that was kind of the first time where I was like, this guy deserves to be an Heisman Trophy candidate and deserves to go to New York. That was like the next step. But he's been solid all year. I mean, what is he? How many touchdowns and 1 interception? I mean, he's been solid all year. But he's got a great supporting staff around him. The wide receivers and the offensive line and J.K. and the tight ends. I mean, they're a great group to have around, and so they bring out the best version of him.
He seems like one of those moment guys. Moment gets better if he plays better.
Well, we'll find out.
He did your rivalry game, right?
He did.
He's kind of early, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I mean, I think he's always seen himself in this moment, in this situation. He's a highly recruited guy, but he has a great foundation. His family did a great job, and some guys, they grow up believing they're going to be in this moment, and so he's here, and so it's not like this is all too big for him. He kind of has good poise about him, and he takes it in stride.
And I just asked Mike Pierce what he brings to the table. He hasn't been talking about it this year a little, in terms of it's kind of your offense, you're the play caller. He said, ask you. So I'm asking you, what's Mike brought, and you're probably.
Well, I think he's brought a lot. I think he's brought, first off, a professionalism and understanding of quarterback play, and he's done a great job of working with Justin to bring him along. And I think that's a very fragile thing. When you're, it's one thing to say, well, you have a really talented quarterback, but how much do you put on him? when you're introducing a play, you can give them everything or you can give them a little bit, and I think that's the art of coaching, and he's done a tremendous job, getting Justin to where he's kind of built him as the season's gone on. He's taken on more and more as the season's gone on, and again, that's an art when you're dealing with quarterbacks, and he's done an unbelievable job of that. He's brought great ideas to the table. He's got great experience. He's called plays. He's been an offensive coordinator. So when you combine all that together, I think that has a lot to do with not only our success, but the success of Justin.
I assume he works closer with Justin than you do, or not? I mean, just because.
Yeah, he runs all the meetings, and he handles all that stuff in the meeting room. Yep.
You probably heard the rumors that came up late. He's been mentioned for Texas and some other places. Are you aware of that? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, again, when you have the success that we've had, this is going to be stuff that comes up. Obviously Jeff had the opportunity to go to Boston College, and we know that this is going to happen. And so you adjust the best you can if something like that comes up. But the good news is right now he's focused on playing in this game, and there's nothing more important than that. And if something comes up down the road, we'll deal with it when we get there the best we can. And but that's part of this job, and that's one of the things that'll be hard as a head coach is dealing with these type of things, but it comes with territory.
Last, why did you bring him in specifically? Was it for his schemes? Just, you always try to get the best.
Yep.
So what was it about him that you heard?
Again, you can try to hire guys that you think are going to be here for 6-7 years, and that's conservative, or you can go try to get the best. I thought he was the best, coming from Oklahoma State, what he's done, and I thought he's done a great job. And it was just a combination of being an offensive coordinator and being really successful and understanding it from that point of view, and then also just his quarterback play and what he did with Mason Rudolph and getting him ready. And so when you mix that all up, I thought he was the best guy out there, and it worked out.
Have you always thought that the offense goes through the running game, or is that something that you've adjusted to since you've been here? If that makes sense.
I think it has to do with your team. That wasn't the case last year, with Dwayne. It has been the case this year. And I think, we talked about in the preseason, all those conversations leading up to the season. I kept saying I'm interested to see where this journey goes with this offense. And, you guys want to say, what is it going to look like? I didn't know, and here we are. And this is a very unique offense. I think, it really puts a lot of stress on defenses because you can do things a lot of different ways. You have the running game, you have the quarterback run, you have play action pass, you have drop back pass, and you mix in tempo and those type of things. It puts defenses in stress.
Coach, college has become free agency, right, with quarterbacks. 3 out of 4 started their careers one place, and now they're found new homes. I think people assume it's easy when it's not. It's one thing to go in the playbook, but it's also one to become a leader, which you have to be as a quarterback. When did you feel like Justin became more comfortable and really felt, that he was really becoming a leader of this team?
I think it was probably mid-season, but he came in with a lot of respect because of his ability, and I think that the guys grabbed onto that. He didn't come in and try to be the guy right away before he was a guy. I think that's part of the deal. He kind of eased his way into it, and then as he's played and as the games have gotten bigger and bigger, they relied on him, and he's had a voice that's gotten stronger and stronger as the time's gone on.
How would you this will be the biggest challenge for you guys since when? Is it Michigan? Is it Wisconsin? Is there a team that you face that's similar at all to this Clemson team?
I don't know. I won't know that until after the game. I think we've gone against some really good defenses this year. Going into the Wisconsin game, going into the Penn State game, going into the rivalry game, and then going into the Big Ten championship game, those were all really highly ranked defenses. This is a highly ranked defense. But you don't know till you play the game. And we have a lot of respect for what Coach Venables does with that defense and their talent. They got speed, and they come from all over the place. And the blitzes come from over the walls and everything else. So we got our hands full. We got to respond.
How much did the Big Ten championship game help? I know it's no fun while you're in it, but you're down at halftime, but then you see your team respond. What does that do for a team's confidence?
I think it's huge. I think it's huge because I think there's a point where when you go down, when you're at a place like Ohio State, and there's so much riding on it, where you can all of a sudden get paralyzed and get tensed up, like, oh my God, what happens if we lose? And now we've gone through that, and it's like, now you're in a game where don't worry about that. Just play. Just look up at the scoreboard at the end of the game and go. And for us to have that to go back on, we've been down 2 scores and respond is huge to me. Yeah, a lot of range, a lot of versatility, a lot of production. Really good player.
Ryan, I know I was looking at something. It's kind of crazy. You guys have played more times out here than you have at Minnesota, at Wisconsin, at half the Big Ten over the last 15 years. I know you weren't there for that, but
crazy. I mean, isn't that how many times this team ends up out here in the desert?
Yeah, no, it's. I think there's more than anybody in the last decade, right? Has been Ohio State. So I was not a part of those, so I don't have any reference point on that. But it goes to show you that Ohio State's been playing in big time bowl games for a long time, and this one's about as big as they get.
And I know you guys have a huge alumni base in the Phoenix area. So
Right.
you expect a lot of Scarlet and Gray out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can definitely feel the support out here. There's Buckeye Nation travels. They're all over the country, and I know there's a lot out here in Arizona. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people coming in too the next couple of days. Yeah, I mean, in a way, yeah. I guess you got two undefeated teams. You have the national champ coming in, so yeah. I mean, it's as close as you can get to being in that type of game. Well, I think when you play in big games and you have two really good defenses, you're gonna the field position game is still going to be big, and so I'll be surprised if the punting and special teams don't have a big role in this game as well. But to your point, there's been games where you get to shootouts, and it seems to not matter as much. But I think, and I talked to our team about this, I think the field position game will be critical in this one.
How much has Drew been in your ear the last couple of years about, like, hey, that's a high scoring quarterback?
We actually tried him, not this preseason, but the preseason prior, because we were short on quarterbacks, and so we had him take a few snaps and throw the ball a little bit. So I knew what he was capable of. So, yeah, exactly right.
Coach, I'm sure you've been asked this question 1,000 times, but all four of the coaches this year in the semifinal are internal hires. They were promoted from within.
Right.
What does that say about you guys as a collective, especially you and Dabo, that you've had this level of success and that you weren't an outside hire, you came from within the program?
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool to watch and see that that's happened, because it goes to show you how important continuity is. And I think that, even with your staff, when you lose somebody in your staff, it's important to bring in, and promote from within. I think that's important, because you just learn from not just football, but any type of organization. When you keep that, that structure in place, it helps for a seamless transition. And I think that's what's happened here. But everything has to be right, and you have to have a leader in place like Gene Smith who's willing to make that call. And that was a brave move. You're talking about a first-time head coach who had never done it before at a place like Ohio State, and that was it took a lot of guts, and it's worked out. So again, there's so many things that have to go right for something like that, but the blueprint's there, and I'm just happy I had an opportunity.
Coach, you talked a lot about those last couple of games taking a lot of toll on your guys. Can you tell me how the last couple of days just being off for your guys, how that refreshed you guys both mentally and physically?
Yeah, no, that was a tough 3-week stretch there with really good physical teams, and so what we did was, we got a little bit of a break there. We let them get away, and then we practiced, and we let them get away a little bit more, and then we met here, and the energy level and the freshness of practice this week has been off the charts, and so I think we're gonna have a good fresh team on Saturday.
Coach Nick. Sir, what inspired your bag hitting activity?
5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes.
Well, I just wanted to get the guys fired up for Christmas. It's so especially the young guys. It's the first time they're away from home, and so I thought maybe we just have a little fun with them coming out of the gates and have a little juice. And then these crazy offensive linemen took me and almost threw me across the field. So it kind of backfired a little bit on me.
We saw you fling the bag in the air. I was just wondering, what exactly did you think that was going to do? Did you think we were like dogs? We were flying bag. We were going to run that way, or what was the thought process?
Well, the bag was weighing me down a little bit. I was trying to run to get away from everybody, and I figured if I threw the bag, just like threw a little weight off me, I'd get away from you guys. But I didn't realize how fast the offensive linemen were at Ohio State. All right, brother. No, not really. I think when you look at Justin, he's a different type of quarterback. He extends plays, and so if you tell him, and again, this is just as a quarterback, a person, if you tell him, hey, you got to get rid of the ball right here, then you're going to miss the play where he scrambled and threw the ball to Chris Olave down the field late in the game in the Big Ten championship game. So the more he plays, the better he'll get a feel for that. But he's trying to create. He's trying to make plays, and he makes a lot of plays when he extends plays. And with that, there's some sacks in there. And you take the good with the bad, and the more he plays, the more he'll get a feel for when it's time to ditch the ball and when you can kind of create. And certainly don't want to stifle his creativity because that's part of his game.
Speaking of, I've been watching QB1 on Netflix. He was doing that all the time, trying to extend plays. Did you watch that QB1 series before, you decided, hey, let's try to get this guy?
No, I actually didn't watch it until after he was with us.
What did you think upon seeing it?
I felt like that's not easy for a coach and somebody in high school to go through. Yeah, I think that must be hard,
He has no regrets.
Yeah.
He's putting so much out there in the public, but he says it's cool.
Well, yeah, that's his mentality. He doesn't get fazed by much. He's got a lot of poise. He doesn't get rattled much. But as I watched it, I just realized, but that must be very much a distraction. And I would be hard for me at my age to forget somebody in high school. But he's handled it all in stride. And again, this is something that I think he's always seen himself doing, is playing games like this. And I don't think this moment's too big for him.
Is it also generational, by the way, that guys that age don't mind having their little...
I think maybe. The phones are always in front of them, and they kind of live their life through social media, so I guess so.
Yes. For a game like this, you consult with Urban?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so even though he's a media member, he doesn't hold back in terms of advice, and you're asking for help.
Oh, yeah. Check in probably every other day, and just different things about, how practice is going or things like that. And he's, again, huge resource, and I'd be foolish not to rely on him for different things, yeah.
Has he been helpful so far?
Sure, absolutely.
Ryan, you spend much time in Arizona?
Not really. I was here this spring for the event here, and we recruited Jack, so I was out here for that, and I think maybe one other time.
What do you like, or what are your impressions of the city?
The people are very friendly, and I would say that I like the weather, but that wouldn't actually be accurate this week because we had a lot of rain this week, if you believe it or not. They said, they averaged like 1 inch of rainfall, I guess, or whatever during this time of year, and we had rain the last 3 days. So, but no, certainly the landscape is gorgeous where we're practicing, the mountains in the background, the different type of vegetation with the cactus. It's just very different from where we are in the Midwest. And then when the sun is out, it is beautiful, and you feel the sun on you. And there's great restaurants. The food that we've had here has been excellent, but the hospitality and the people have been great.
Is tough Moreland half the game?
Yes. Oh, shoot, yeah. He's tough. Yeah. Didn't have a choice when he was named tough. He had to be tough.
Coach, will a lot of families of players be able to come? Is there like a stipend for some of those families to be able to come?
There is, yeah. Yep, they work through university to be able to help them get to the event.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and we got Buck IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.